Thank you, Instructabeats, for providing that countdown that I realized I forgot to stop. Anyway, howdy, everyone, and hi, team chat out there. Welcome to the Monday edition of our LPTV Disney Morning Show. Excited to catch up on what's going on in the world of Disney over the weekend and looking forward to what is bound to be an interesting week at Disney. Why? No idea, but every week turns out to be interesting for one reason or another. My name is Doobie. I helped found this place. Over there is Kyle Burbank. He's been here, since 2009?
I don't think it was. No, it definitely wasn't 2009. Maybe like 13, 14.
2013, 14. So, what's the 10-year service award here at LP?
Benji will invite you to Marceline and then ditch you partway through.
That second half, that's kind of that goes to every service award here. Hey Gio, thanks for joining us this morning. Hello Nikki B, thank you for being here, peeking out from behind the Main Street Indian, and hello Carrie, represented by your big red C in a circle with the blue. I think that's just the generic when your initial is C. That's what they do there. All right, we're gonna get started today the way we get started every day here. Do be trying to find the button. All right, before we get started, let me tell you what's going on here.
Only two monitors. Oh
Doobie,
my gosh.
Doobie has some technical issues here. My USB port thingy that I then plug my keyboard, my third monitor, and my microphone into is not connecting. So I am working here without my external keyboard that I normally use, which means I got to reach way over here to use the keyboard. I'm working without my microphone, so I'm just using the laptop's internal microphone, and most importantly, I'm working without my third monitor. None of these things should cause much of a problem, but for me, who gets really stuck in his ways, it's going to bug me for the whole hour and just totally mess up the show. Let's get started the way we do every day. Kyle, we were, I believe, at 91 is what I had written down for Friday. What do you think we're doing today?
Well, based on that intro, I'm going to say we're down because we can't have good things.
You're absolutely right. It's pathetic. We're down 90.26. Company is in the tank. Big old write-offs for content. Isn't it funny how people don't understand what that means exactly?
Yes.
Maybe we
actually
actually
with a different article that I read, or I'm like, yeah, that's not at all. They even say like, we presume. It's like, well, you assume wrong, so maybe don't assume if you're going to write a news article.
We have a Disney Plus content article coming up on our thing today. Maybe you could at that point you can expound on that a little bit. I would appreciate that. But let's get started after that with the other thing we do at this time every day. Man, I messed up.
Here's Ethan.
Hello everyone and happy Monday. Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. Even while we sleep, we will find you acting on your best behavior. Turn your back on Mother Nature. Everybody wants to rule the world. Say that you'll never need it. One headline, why believe it? Everybody wants to rule the world. All for freedom and for pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the world. Speaking of the world, let's get to the LP Disney weather report. Today, Anaheim will be mostly cloudy and top out at 66. That's a slam dunk Kyle pick of the day. Walt Disney World will also be mostly cloudy but much warmer, reaching a high of 85 that will feel a bit warmer with humidity. Is that a Doobie pick of the day? We'll need to see about one other option first. Well, Castaway Cay will also see a high of 85 but their 70% humidity will make it feel like 92. So, the island will snatch the DPOTD crown. Disneyland Paris is a bit warmer than usual today. Currently it's sunny and in the 70s and we'll see a low in the mid-60s tonight. Tokyo will be overcast tomorrow and we'll see windy conditions in the afternoon. Through it all, they'll hit a high of 77. Shanghai will have a few showers early tomorrow but will be mostly cloudy for most of the day. They'll make it to 80 degrees today with a low of 70. Lastly, Hong Kong will experience thunderstorms throughout the day tomorrow. Nevertheless, the 85-degree high will still feel like 95. And that will do it for today's update. I hope you all had a great weekend, and enjoy having tears for fears stuck in your head all day today. Bye for now.
Far worse thing to have stuck in your head all day.
What's your favorite fears record?
I keep waiting for them to say Shanghai will have a high of 87 with a real feel of like 112 or something, or Hong Kong. My favorite Tears for Fear record is definitely, gotta be cliche, songs from the Big Chair. You mean the whole record, right? Not a single song.
Right.
Yeah, Songs from the Big Chair. I really like the one before that. I think it's called The Hurting. But how about you?
I don't know, probably The Hurting, but it's hard.
Oh, of course. Before they went commercial. That sounds like such a college thing.
Yeah.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World, of course. He did so much of that song, I thought we were going to have to pay royalties. I mean, he just kept going and going.
Wasn't that
And
much.
Gio's like, I wanted to go backwards in my chair really fast. Nice reference there to Cosmic Rewind. That was a great way to start the day. Tears for Fears. Depeche Mode is obviously my favorite band. Everyone knows that. Duran Duran is probably second, and then there's a fight for third. But Tears for Fears is in that fight, right up there with Morrissey is in that fight, or the Smiths.
We were talking about how I've been rewatching some random Psych episodes, so I continued that, and then we also watched This Is Gus, the third Psych movie this weekend.
No, I think that's the one we still haven't seen. Is that the last one?
That's the most recent one
Yeah, I don't think
that
we've-
Kurt Smith may or may not be in.
Oh, Kurt Smith, Roland Orzabal, Tears for Fears, still performing, still putting out records. Who saw that coming? And Duran Duran, and all three of those, Depeche Mode, all still around. I pick them good. Okay, let's get started with.
You don't see Kajagoogoo on the list.
Too shy, hush, hush, I do. I want some Kaja Gugu from Ethan tomorrow. Hush, hush, I do.
Which song?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. All right, Kyle was in Missouri this weekend, which is pretty unusual for you, right?
Yeah. I was in a different part of Missouri, which I found out that the city that I needed to park at was I went straight out of my apartment complex onto the freeway, did not even change lanes, and then took the freeway that I got on all the way until I turned and then immediately turned right to go to the hotel. I was
Are you
like,
serious?
wow, really? It's a straight shot like that?
That's pretty cool. So just a couple of turns and you're there. And how long? What was the time in between?
3.5 hours.
Okay. So where'd you go?
I went to Marceline, Missouri. I guess it's in the middle of the state and it's small, so it's Missouri. Whereas I live in Missouri, it's very different. But they had a D23 event, as well as Citizen was sponsoring it because they were dedicating this clock to the hometown museum there in Marceline. So this is the clock. It looks a lot like the one that you'll find on Main Street at Walt Disney World. And even though the Walt Disney World Main Street is not inspired by Marceline, because the Disneyland one is, they decided to have it match. And yeah, so that was like the kind of the reason for the event, I guess. But they did a bunch of other fun things. This is the ribbon cutting from that. But they also did, they declared it, that's the mayor there on the red shirt. She declared it D23 Day in the city of Marceline, and also announced that all D23 members worldwide are honorary citizens of Marceline.
Oh,
So that
wait.
means that I am not a official.
Well, did she say all members or just the paid tier? I can't remember what it's called.
That's what Benji said. Yeah, so I might have to sign up for the free tier so that I can get my honorary status back. Or maybe she didn't say past, present, and future. I don't know how that works. But they presented them with I have more videos and stuff I'm going to have up later today, along with an event review. But yeah, Mickey and Minnie were there. And then what I liked about this event, the D23 one, is that the bulk of the day was they had like a little scavenger hunt for us, which was fun. But we got to kind of just go explore on our own. It wasn't like a heavily scheduled event, at least for the first half of the day. So I appreciated that, because that was kind of my fear, was that we're just going to be bouncing from one thing to another and not get to really explore on our own. So I liked having that freedom to just kind of walk around. We went to the elementary school and got to see the murals and stuff they have there. Got to they gave us they have their own little Coke corner. They have a Coke mural, and they had cold bottles of glass bottle Coca-Cola that they gave us. And there was a street fair going on in Ripley Park or Ripley Square. So we got to check out some local vendors and things like that.
Just show some pictures. This is from the Marceline, Missouri City Facebook page. Keep talking. I'll just show these in the background.
Yeah, and yeah, so it was a lot of fun, and the people of Marceline are insanely nice. So Benji and I, when we were walking over to the elementary school, we knew we were close, but we weren't quite sure which direction it was. So we saw someone driving by in a golf cart, so we asked them, and instead of just giving us directions, he's like, "Oh, hop on!" So he gave us a ride. Someone that we know went to a restaurant and then found out it was cash only, and the owners just gave him free food. And then
Wow.
somebody else was in a. I overheard this when we were at the next event, and they were in the antique store when the bus left, and they missed the bus. And so the owner of the antique store gave them a ride to our next location, which was Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Family Farm, or the Disney Family Farm, where they built a recreation of a barn that would have been there when Walt was there. That's where the Dreaming Tree was before it got struck by lightning. And that's where we had like an outdoor tent event. Yeah, Brett was there. The voice of Mickey Mouse gave a speech at the event, and we had a menu inspired by Eat Like Walt. The author of Eat Like Walt was there, and she explained why she chose the items that she did. So we had like fried chicken and mashed potatoes and corn. So, very like country cooking type stuff. And Robin Lopez was there wearing a BB Newworth shirt. That was the highlight of my day because I didn't understand it, and I wanted to ask him about it and tell him I appreciated it, but I didn't go.
Couldn't find. It's not. I know it's not because you couldn't find him.
Yeah, not a hard man to find. But what was interesting, so there was 2 events going on at the same. Well, 3 really. So there's the street fair, or the street thing, which was open to the public. I think some other people traveled to Marceline this weekend, even if they weren't going to like the D23 event, just to experience that. So you had that going on. And then there was the D23 event. And then there was also Citizen, the sponsor, sold separate event tickets. So at this dinner that they had at the farm, it was D23 and the people who purchased through Citizen. So yeah, it was an interesting, fun time. And I'm glad I finally got to go to Marceline. I think this was a good way to do it because, like, you could drive there yourself. There is parking and stuff like that. I wasn't 100% sure how I would go about doing that, but I like that they kind of dropped us off, sent us in the right direction. Basically, gave us the scavenger hunt to kind of encourage us to go out. We got to go to it included access to the Hometown Museum, which was a fun time. And then the scavenger hunt kind of encouraged us to go around the town. Or city, they call it a city, and they emphasize that they call it a city, even if I don't know if it technically meets the requirements. And so, yeah, I thought that was a good way to do it. I got to explore and had a great time. And it was warm and sunny, so Doobie would have liked it.
So you do recommend Marceline for Disney fans. It's not disappointing.
No, I think, I don't know what it's like when they're not having a big event, but I think even then, it seemed like everyone really, I wondered whether people, I think you kind of, if you're going to open a shop there, you kind of know that you're going to have to embrace the Disney thing. But I wondered if people would be like kind of over it. And it seemed like they're really not. They're really, like they have so many volunteers. A lot of them were school teachers. They were out of school 2 weeks ago, so they were helping out. And it seems like everyone's like really into it still. So I think that's kind of cool.
You talk about how nice they are. That concerns me because I'm now an honorary citizen. Do I have to now become a nice person?
You got a lot of work to do. Only when you're there. If you're there, as long as you're not representing Marceline, like you can, if you hold the door for somebody, then you can say that you're an honorary citizen of Marceline. But otherwise,
when I'm cutting someone off in traffic, just normal Juby.
Yeah, just
Benji.
Instead of giving them a finger, just put a sign. I'm a Marceline. Don't do that.
Okay. For the record, Juby does not give the finger. Benji, you ready? He said, "Yeah." All right, let's bring on
talk
Mr.
about
Benji Brightburn.
How crazy this man is.
No, we're going to talk about.
Well, it's related. It's the perfect segue because
I don't think he means like generally like the fact that like I torture bugs with like magnifying glasses.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So Benji was with me in Marceline, and then he went to an event on Sunday in LA. So to get there, he had to get up at like 2 a.m, drive from where we were near Marceline to Kansas City, and catch 2 flights to get to Los Angeles to go to the event that he's going to talk about.
In fairness, I didn't get up at 2:00. I just stayed up.
I saw that coming.
What are you going to talk about?
So, yesterday would have been the 70th work anniversary of Bernie Mattinson. So,
Who is
a Disney legend who he directed and produced Mickey's Christmas Carol. He also co-directed Great Mouse Detective and produced it, and in many ways, according to the panel, saved Disney animation. And then transitioned to a story role, and did a lot of storyboard work across Disney, and continued all the way through Strange World. In fact, the character Legend, the dog, is named after Bernie Mattinson, because Don Hall calls Bernie Legend because he's a Disney legend. But it was they had 3 different panels going through different phases of Bernie's career, including the fact that when Bernie is the son of Bernie Mattinson, who was a drummer, and quite a famous drummer actually, so when he graduated high school, he needed a summer job. So he told his mom he'd like to work at Disney. So that he went to Disney, went to the security guard shack, and they said, well, you don't really just drive up here to get a job. It doesn't really work that way. So then the security guard started looking at Bernie's portfolio. He's like, oh, this looks kind of good. So he called the head of personnel and then said, hey, you might want to check out this guy's work. So they let him come on, and he didn't have any jobs in animation, but he had a job in basically the mailroom.
Same thing.
What's that?
It's basically the same thing. Yeah.
In fact, every week he participated in like some sort of weird money laundering scheme where Walt Disney would write himself a check for like $300 for like spending money. And so he would go and cash the check and bring the money to Walt. So that was the sort of engagement with Walt in the early days. Ended up becoming an in-betweener. And he's just in this weird generation that it wasn't the 9 old men. It wasn't the kids they brought in to replace the 9 old men that created the Disney Renaissance. It was kind of this like, there's not many people in this sort of bracket. So, just work. In fact, if you look at one thing Eric Goldberg did is he showed storyboards that Bernie did for Fox and the Hound, and then he showed it side by side how versus the completed film. And normally storyboards are just sort of like bits and pieces of things. It's not a full movie. The version that the storyboards that they showed were always better than what ended up in the actual film in Fox and the Hound. So, for example, in Bernie's storyboard, the cow is black and white to contrast with the brown barn. In the movie, the cow is brown. And so Eric goes he's like, brown on brown was a choice. Then basically, it sort of became a Black Cauldron bashing session, because Bernie wanted nothing to do with the Black Cauldron. So he went to Ron Miller and pitched the Mickey Christmas Carol. And then all the people that couldn't get, like Ron Musker, John Clemens, Randy Cartwright, all the people that kind of like didn't fit with Black Cauldron ended up working on Mickey's Christmas Carol. And then when the new leadership came in, they were working on Great Mouse Detective, and they originally pitched it, sort of like, like you remember with like with storyboards and Walt doing it. And it didn't really click. It didn't really connect with the new leadership. So they ended up creating a story reel where they would sort of turn into a movie. And then Jeffrey Katzenberg got it because like he's used to seeing, dailies and things like that. And so they found out later that Roy Disney called and said, you saved Disney Animation, because they were going to shut you down because they didn't know what to do with you.
Wow.
I mean, which is hard to, I instantly thought of like, we were this close to having Disney Animation shut down. Like, and then it became this whole thing. Think about all the projects Disney has shut down. What happens if they would have given them another year or two?
Oh, that's what I said about them moving stuff from Disney Plus. I'm like, oh, I'm glad Hocus Pocus is a hit for you, because you're never going to have another Hocus Pocus situation again.
Exactly, yeah. And and it was very emotional, and there's all sorts of Bernie anecdotes that I'm sure I'll do a post of at some point. But they presented this service award. Now, when you get he's the longest serving cast member employee, so you get to design your own. So he has Winnie the Pooh here, and then sort of in a bas relief, you have the other Winnie the Pooh characters, and Winnie the Pooh's kind of looking through the window there, and in fact they showed a picture of Bernie's last day on the studio, where he was working with a new project on Don Hall, who directed Strange World and co-directed Winnie the Pooh, the 2011 Winnie the Pooh. So it was a touching. What was nice is they had the sort of usual, Ron Clements, John Musker, Anastasia, but also had new people who talked about the legacy he had, even as he kind of transitioned to sort of a emeritus role. Not saying he wasn't engaged, but like as he was, was there to kind of be the elder statesman. How much they had the breakfast with Bernie every week, and like he would just kind of give advice and mentorship. And in fact, if you look at the one story they told is in 2011's Winnie the Pooh, they have a bell ring, and Bernie was adamant that like you show the bell ringing. So in the woodwork on the door of where the bell is, like it says Bernie, because like it was very important to him. But they talk about like some animated someone discussed like how Mickey's Christmas Carol was like it was either Mickey's Christmas Carol, Great Mass Detective, I can't remember which one, was very important to them. And after 3 years of working on the studio, they were nervous and they were like, I'm going to have Bernie sign my poster. And like Bernie comes in, or the guy walks in and he goes, I'm so sorry. And Bernie just goes, oh, you just made my day. And, when you hear about like sort of obviously Walt, but even the Night Old Men, they weren't necessarily known for being huggable or even effervescent. And, Bernie, I think, gave them that nice sort of transition to someone who could really be kind and they talked about a song that was, he was in the story team, and there was a song in Lion King where everyone looked at it and said, this is not a good song. This is not a good song. And Bernie, they go to the story meeting, and Bernie looks at it and goes like, this isn't really good, is it? And then they go, and he goes like, well, okay, you take the beginning, you take the end. And it showed that, it's not your job to fix the movie. It's your job to give the best version of that movie. So there he is at his legend plaque.
Yeah. And still works for the company?
He's dead.
He said work.
Not.
Is that?
No, that's fine. Oh, yesterday was his anniversary. Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Yesterday was the 70th anniversary.
It would have been his 70th anniversary.
Would have been his 70th. I thought you said it was his. You probably did. But
well, I did say that
because you assumed I knew he was dead.
Yeah.
Which I didn't, and so I'm glad we clarified that.
Yeah, so this was his patented celebration of life, which they still created, obviously, the service award, which they gave to his family. And it's funny, they talk about how he always wore shorts. So like there was one, like John Musker came in shorts, and at first you see John Musker and you're like, wow, guess I don't have to worry about being underdressed. And then he's like explains it and you're like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. But he was very casual apparently on the lot. But yeah, it's
cool.
It's he doesn't get as much. His longevity gave him sort of notoriety. But because he was in that in-between generation, he doesn't have the sort of same fame as a Ron Clements, John Musker, or Rob Minkoff. That generate Roger Allers. He doesn't get that sort of level of praise. But if you think of the Disney Renaissance starting with Great Mouse Detective, in actuality, even though the success really came with the high level of success came with Great Mouse Detective. The Mermaid. The seeds were planted in Great Mouse Detective. He has a very important sort of historical role. In fact, Great Mouse Detective was the first use of CGI, in a Disney animated film. And it's CGI, the fact that they had to hand paint the CGI. They would print the CGI onto cells and then paint them.
It sounds like also because of his longevity, he had an impact that we don't necessarily see from the outside, but a humongous impact within the company on
and
tons of animators.
You know, I was surprised is not a good word, but like it was. You saw his impact when Jennifer Lee came up and started to lose her composure, because Jennifer Lee is not one of these, you know, worked at the studios for 30 years. She's not really an animator. You know, she's a story person. Obviously, great success for Frozen, and you know, Disney Animation's having a good moment as well right now. But you know, she didn't. She's not one of those people. She's not like an Andre Stasia who grew up idolizing the Nine Old Men, right? But she talked about how you still hear in the hallways, oh, don't forget what Bernie said, or, you know, oh, Bernie taught me this, or this and that. And, you know, I think when it comes to making Disney animation feel Disney, I think Bernie will have a very important legacy moving on. And then those, just like, you know, Milt Kahl or Eric Larson mentored him, you know, and you have a little bit of them and him, you're going to have a little bit of Bernie, you know, and at Disney forever.
Cool. Well, thank you for bringing us that then, since we got you here. Anything else you want to say about Marceline or anything?
No, I mean, it was neat to hear Kyle's thoughts on it.
Okay.
You know, as I tell, I was talking to people yesterday, it's like, it's there's a lot of those times where it's like, you know, it's a roadside attraction. They kind of milk out what, you know, like Chillicothe, where we were saying, was the home of sliced bread. They have a sliced bread themed escape room. If you're so inclined, their town mascot's Toasty. So you know, but it's the community gets there's actual sort of Disney history there, and it's kind of cool to see. You know, it's not where Walt was born, but it's a place that inspired Walt, which is a little bit different and a little bit more important.
Well, thanks a lot. I'm sure you'll be down there, and if you have something to say, you'll pop back up. In the meantime, let's move on to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which, Kyle, you did see that, right? You talked to us about that already.
Yeah, we talked about it on Friday. And we'll be talking about it much more this afternoon. We're going to do a Zacks of Live all about it. I think this will be our first Zacks of Life not focused on an MCU film. So, breaking new
exciting.
ground.
Yeah. And speaking of breaking new ground, this thing broke some box office ground this weekend, sort of. It certainly had a big opening. Took the weekend, replacing Little Mermaid, of course. $120.5 million in the domestic box office, which was the third biggest opening weekend ever for an animated film. Not bad. Best ever for Sony Animation. Second biggest opening of the year behind the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is just crazy to think that's probably going to be the #1 movie of the year. But pretty good opening for Sony, which means pretty good for Disney, because Disney gets a piece of that pie too, I gotta believe, since they own this character.
Yeah, something. I don't know exactly how it works.
But no idea how it works. No one knows how it works. That's cool. And then you were just talking about Hocus Pocus.
He knows how it works.
I know how it works.
Sure, tell us how it works.
So they actually gave up. They traded their profit participation for full merchandise control. So they get all the merchandise for royalties from Across the Spider-Verse, but they don't really get anything from the actual.
But probably good box office translates to good merchandise, so they'll still make some bank. And then Kyle, you were just talking about Hocus Pocus and how we might not have gotten a Hocus Pocus 2 if things didn't get a chance to become cult classics. And what is that now going to give us?
During an highlight of Sean Bailey, it was revealed that Hocus Pocus 3 is happening. It's in development. No exact timeline, but I'd imagine it would come out around Halloween, probably next year, because it can't come out this year at this point, really, for several reasons.
No wonder, right?
I mean, they could do a throwback and release it next July if they want, but I would imagine that they'd do it around Halloween.
Would you guess that would be a Disney Plus or a theatrical?
That's a good question, because I mean the last one was a big hit for Disney Plus. So if they've already proven that as a venue for this type of film, I guess that makes sense to just stick with that, and they'll show it at El Capitan or something like that. But if I guess it depends. If they found that not only was it was high viewership, but if it actually drove subscriptions, then that'll be something that they want to do, obviously, as they focus on. If that one had good return on investment on Disney Plus, unlike some of these other efforts, then I feel like they would stick with that. Whereas if they're like, okay, well, we can still do both. It's not gonna. We can open it theatrically, and that'd be kind of weird. Have a theatrical, non-theatrical, theatrical again. I don't think it's unprecedented, but it's certainly interesting.
Why would they not do theatrical? You're going to make some money from it.
Well, that's what they might be. I mean, we've heard them talk about this sort of thing. Like people, it'll still be fine even if it opens in theaters first and then comes to streaming. That people still will have just as much interest as whether it's exclusive. So if that's what they're finding, then they might open it theatrically. I'm just saying that's a little strange for the trajectory of this movie, but the entire trajectory of the movie has been strange to begin with. So
I would like to know the logistics of opening stuff theatrically to where it's not done more. Like, why not? Is there a reason why they couldn't have the season premiere or the season finale of something huge like Mandalorian be in theatrical before it's on Disney Plus? There's got to be a reason. They don't want to just leave a few $1 million on the table. No, but that doesn't matter. You can do a Fathom Event type thing. It doesn't have to be a movie to be in a theater.
No, I know Fathom Event, but not like an actual release. Besides, like El Cap or something.
Yeah, just like an event, some sort of an event. But they must have their reasons, and they're smarter than me. Disney Plus. So Disney Plus took a $1.5 billion impairment charge, and it looks like they're going to take another $0.4 billion, and so more content may be leaving. Am I interpreting this right, Kyle?
That is correct. And what's interesting about this one is that they say mostly direct to consumer, so like Hulu and Disney Plus, but they say the mostly there. I guess that would insinuate that maybe I don't know what other platforms they'd be removing stuff from, but they kind of left the door open there instead of it just being DTC.
That is interesting.
Yeah, so more content will be leaving. Again, of course, we don't have a list or anything. They said that they're still evaluating it, but it'll be less than it'd be almost a quarter of what it was last time.
One thing I hope they don't remove is the 30 for 30 for the Gladiators. That was really
I have to watch that still.
Or not the American Gladiators.
American Gladiators, right? Close enough.
You
like movies about gladiators?
All right, so talk to us about this impairment charge and what you read, why it's so wrong, and correct the record.
So the word charge, when we think of it, we think it almost sounds like Disney is now paying $1.5 billion for removing content, which why would you do that if the entire point was to save money on taxes? The way Benji explained this to me is it's a write down, so it does affect their taxes. It's basically like, hey, we lost $1.5 billion, so tax us less, because that's like subtracting it from your taxable income. But in this case, what they're really doing, and Benji can correct me if I misunderstood him, is they have it amortized. So they might have amortized it over 5 years, which is when you say we paid this much and the cost of it goes, the value of it goes down over time. So they're basically saying by removing it, they shorten that window. So they're taking, instead of saying the 5-year window was going to cost, let's say 200 million for that content, and it was valued at 200 million when they put it on there, you're collapsing that and saying, okay, well, we're just taking the loss on that. So it's not even like by taking this off, that they're saving 1.5 billion, they're saving the taxes on 1.5 billion and only saving it now instead of saving it over the course of several years.
And again, Ben can correct if I'm wrong, but by doing it all this year, they're saving that charge from later on, when perhaps they won't have as much on the plus side to offset it. And so doing it now when they've got some money on the plus side can help later years look better, which then can help keep the stock price up instead of Disney's profits being lower over the coming years as a result of these charges. So, and Disney's stock price being up is good, because then they're less of a takeover target. So ultimately, Disney is removing these movies to help Disney stay independent, which is exactly what Disney fans want.
In about 25 minutes, Apple's making some announcements, so maybe Disney's getting pressure. No, they're at WW. They wouldn't do it at WWDC, but there might be some Disney things as part of the Apple announcements. I wouldn't be surprised, especially if one of the things that they're expecting to announce is like a VR headset. So if there was some sort of Disney collaboration there, I wouldn't be surprised, but I have no inside knowledge. I'm just saying I know that these two companies work together.
All right, let's get to Disneyland and stuff going on at Disneyland. You probably saw not too long ago that Centennial Park had walls around it, short and it's like this place just opened. Well, the walls are down. Centennial Park is again open. A lot of people were speculating that maybe these things might be lessened or disappearing as people might trip over them, but they're still there. And it's nice to see all these kids playing on them, by the way. The one change, which was noted by Scott, our good friend Scott Gustin on Twitter, is this area around the tree itself used to be a darker green, so they did something in there. I don't think Disney's announced exactly what was done, but whatever was done is now done. And Centennial Park is once again open for guests to enjoy, as they are enjoying. And I can't wait to get down there and enjoy it myself. You haven't been to the new Toontown, have you, Kyle?
I have not, but I will say at the D23 event in Marceline, they had Mickey, and he was in his Toontown outfit rather than his classic outfit, which I thought was interesting. He also he changed because earlier in the day he was in his platinum outfit with Minnie, and then he came out later at the other event in different clothes. It must have been hot out there, and he sweat through them and wanted to freshen up.
How hot was it? Was it a doobie pick of the day hot?
It was 90 or so.
Yeah, that's pretty hot. All right, staying at Disneyland for a bit, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, as you all know, is now officially under construction at Disneyland with the closure of Splash Mountain. So let's find out what they did to the Disneyland Railroad as a result. Let's listen together.
To those just joining us, welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. To ensure a safe ride, stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. Okay. And please watch your kids.
Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren. Y cuide a los pequeños. Gracias.
We're now entering the bayou, soon to be home to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Princess Tiana swears there's magic out here. And wherever there's magic, there's bound to be surprises. Blue skies and sunshine guaranteed.
That's probably where you would normally be looking into the attraction, or somewhere in there.
Speaking of surprises, this place we're passing over is chock full of them. Here in Critter Country, you can join Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, and other...
So there you go. Wherever there's magic, there's bound to be surprises. That sounds so generic and simple. But whatever, there you go. Splash Mountain ain't coming back. The walls are up, as you can see some pretty good construction shots in that video as well. And Tiana's Bayou Adventure is coming, which I am legit excited about.
Late 2024.
Oh, that's funny. Sorry. Yeah, it's late 2024. Do you think they'll open at the same time?
I don't know. I would think not, because they closed vastly different times, but
they ever open attractions at the same time? I can't think of
around the same time. I mean, they've opened you mean like identical. They've opened different attractions on the same day. I assume they
All right, over in downtown Disney District, let's once again take a look at how the Jazz Kitchen is looking over there. Isn't that the wrong tab? Isn't that special? So unique.
I don't like Beignets Expressed.
Tell us why.
Because when you express something like
a dog?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Ew.
So I don't want these beignets filled and then Express. It sounds not good.
Oh
Just
my
say
goodness,
Beignets
Kyle.
Express. Like what? Or Express Beignets. I don't know why. Who
Apparently,
chose Express?
you're not alone there. Apparently, people who don't have dogs. So anyway, Beignets Express (ED) has opened up where you can go get beignets, and they have a very small menu there now. I think they used to have a pretty big menu at the walk-up window there, but now it's just desserts and beverages. So
I think
check
they
that out
moved
at
the direction over the past few years. Back when I used to go there, that would be my go-to for a cheeseburger that was just slightly cheaper than inside the parks, and I enjoyed quite a bit. But yeah, I've heard that it's mostly just been beignets for a while. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, just the ED kind of messes it up, right?
Yeah.
So go check that out. Oh, wait, there's a food picture. Food picture. There you go.
Oh, they got Fruity Pebble beignets, I guess.
Yeah, is this picture upside down?
I don't know. It's messing with me.
It is. Oh, look what they've got here. Is that freestyle I see?
Yeah.
I think so. All right, that's over at Downtown Disney at the much more boring looking Ralph Brennan Jazz Kitchen.
Luke likes the controversial take. The inside of the beignet area looks nicer than before. Yeah, it didn't look great before. I mean, I haven't been in there in at least 10 years, but
do you like the name, Luke? Are you a fan of
that'd be that's what the controversial take I was expecting when I first saw the thing. But I like the Expressed. It makes it fun.
Isn't that the name of a clothing store? Just Expressed? Or is that Express as well? Maybe I'm wrong.
Express? You talking about the retail store?
Yeah, there's no
It's just Express. I've never seen the word expressed used in any other context, honestly.
Bold prediction. They will be changing the name, and someone will be fired as a result. Although Luke says it's dumb, but I don't hate it. It's okay. Luke, this is why you're a suspect. No offense. With all due respect, Luke, this is why you're a suspect.
Like Expressly would be fun. Like, okay, you don't want to be generic and just call it Express, but or Expressly beignets. That sounds fun.
All right, I'm going to look up the word expressed. See if it has.
Because I think what they're saying is delivered in express fashion, and that might be what a technical thing, but I'm just saying it sounds weird to people that use it normally.
The definition of expressed is to squeeze out. So
yeah, so they're squeezing out beignets, which I guess works, but
oh, it's also another. Oh, that's right. I completely forgot that when dealing with breast milk, you call that expressing as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Keep with that one. First they ruined the building. Then they couldn't even get the title right. How about that? Okay. Also at Disneyland Resort, this time over at Disney California Adventure, Tony. I would love to hear Tony's opinion. I'm sure he's seen this. I hope he's seen this video. His opinion of the Elemental Connection, the 2-minute pre-show for World of Color, which I'm just trying to show pictures of so we don't get the ding. But this is added to before World of Color actually starts, right, Kyle?
Yeah, and my favorite part is when it just shows fire, water. I admittedly did not really watch it all. I just kind of scrubbed through it because I posted the video before I left for Marceline at 4:30 in the morning on Saturday. It looks fine. There's the fire.
Fire on water.
Water.
It's
cute. It's nothing mind-blowing. Air. No, I'm glad that they're going back to doing this. It feels like it's been a while since they've done these. They used to do them more common, either a pre-show or a tag. Yes, I know that they've done Hurry Home, which has recurred, but I'm saying it's been a while. I feel like it's been a while since they've done a new tag or pre-show.
They used to do a pre-parade to celebrate a new movie.
That's not really my favorite part, Tom. That was called sarcasm.
Sarcasm's hard to get through. Sticking at Disneyland, we've got so much Disneyland stuff. That's why you want to tune into Disney Parks Talk Live today, 4 p.m., because we have a lot of theme park news to catch up on. We'll probably spend a little bit more time on all these Disneyland stories. But for now, we will just go here to the next one, which is a dessert boat.
Yeah. I love the Sharpie display only. So yeah, it's a new thing Disney's doing. I don't know much about this. I like the look of it. I enjoy the fact that yes, it's a Jungle Cruise vehicle sort of, and it's got the purple theming for the platinum thing. Dessert bowl includes Dole Whip. Oh, of course it does. Has to serve food somehow.
Yeah. $25.49.
In fairness, Kyle, look at the picture of the sign, and you'll notice the Dole Whip is actually behind it, not actually served inside of the boat.
Right.
Is it capable of serving a Dole Whip?
I think there's some sort of legal governing body, IEEE reason it possibly could on a random Tuesday convey food, but never ever will.
But it has to be able. They have to be able to say that it's for food. In this case, because merchandising or food and beverage wants the money, not merchandising. They want to make their department.
Wait, I don't understand that. It's the same company, right?
It's the same company, but if your job is IT, so you want IT to look as good as it possibly can, so that Benji's like, that doobie knows what he's doing.
All I care about is the company as a whole. Around here, we say one team, one dream.
Yeah, Disney doesn't do that.
Someday someone's gonna do an expose documentary about popcorn buckets and sippers, and it's gonna be the merchandise team's gonna leak it to
How many days until retirement we can get that story? It's got to be coming. Okay, that's it for Disneyland. And one more thing, I'm skipping it. As I'm saying, I'm all messed up here, Kyle. Is there anything new on our site, on TweetDeck, on email that we should cover before I get to our
Nothing
stuff?
terribly exciting that I've seen.
Okay. Well, let's get to.
Can I give a shout coming soon from Alex that you should pay attention to on Laughing Place? Alex recently attended the ATX Festival, which is the Austin Television Festival. And
They want to call it ATF.
Yeah. And so he met some people from FX shows, Hulu shows, but they also had people from Christy Carlson Romano's podcast company, which they basically do podcasts based off of 90s Disney Channel shows. And so he got to talk to Christy Carlson Romano and Elise Vanderpool.
Lucky.
And has some great stories out of that. And they knew who we were, which is always impressive and surprising.
Oh, that's cool.
And if you watch Who's the Boss this week, you'll get to enjoy one of those fun mic reaction things when Alex tells them some news.
That's all we're going to get from you on that?
Yep.
Wow. Go watch Who's the Boss. Okay, then let's go to this. This pocket pick comes to us from the world of Twitter, and that's not it. Submitted to us by Kyle Burbank. Do you know, is that how he pronounces his name?
I think so.
Yeah. And so up and away. Today is Hot Air Balloon Day, apparently. And they're showcasing, the Walt Disney Archive showcasing 3 high-flying favorites from across the Disney decades. Which inventive inflatable strikes your fancy? Are you a fan of Air Force One? What is this thing it's flying over, by the way?
I own a field that's shaped like a Mickey that's talk. I don't know why that was a bad decision to have him talking.
That's a... Anyway. Or are you a fan of Castle in the Sky from Disney World's 20 Years? They must have done this and said, yeah, we need to do something special to the actual castle after looking at this.
Yeah.
Rabbit and Mickey checking it out. Roger Rabbit was as big as Mickey Mouse back in the day. Or the Up balloon.
That's fun. I mean, I'm kind of torn between the last two. I think this one makes the most sense, but the other one's just so silly that I kind of like that. And this seems to be I like that I can see the actual park icon in the same shot instead of just some random field. That's kind of fun. But I would love it.
Well, it's not a random field; it's a Mickey field.
I would love if the people would vote in the comments, and then they will decide with their input which one of these gets the official, I guess Doobie account vote in this.
I was going to say I can vote here myself, but we can let the people decide on the official laughing vote. No, I will save my Doobie account vote. You guys let us know which one of these you prefer. You can say Air Force One. You can say Castle in the Sky, or you can say Up, and I mean this sincerely, every vote counts. Like, we need one. Come on, peeps. All right, that was our pocket pick for the day. You know what we got today. While we await those votes, to education, which was due. Oh wait, do we have a vote?
We have a vote.
Castle in the Sky. All right, Castle in the Sky is in the lead with 100% of the votes so far.
Like,
all right, Kai. We don't have too many today.
okay.
But let's start with 1972. On this day, in 1972, an attraction opened at the Magic Kingdom. I'm going to read this one for you because I don't think you have any chance otherwise. Takes guests on a journey through some of Eastern's tourist destinations, such as Mexico City, New Orleans, and the Bahamas. The attraction will entertain millions of visitors for the next 15 years.
Is it Delta Dream Flight?
It's in the same neighborhood. It's If You Had Wings.
Okay.
See, through some of Eastern's tourist destinations, so it was before it was Delta.
I just thought I didn't even think about capital E. I was just like, oh, Eastern attraction? Yeah.
I tried to let that slip by. It worked. Okay, so far, let's check out the vote. Castle in the Sky, still in the lead. All right.
Wow.
On this
People are
day,
watching us? I guess not.
they're watching.
Anyone we're
They're
not
participating.
related to watching.
But even related people could vote.
Oh, I know. I'm fine with it. I'm just saying. I thought maybe somebody
All right.
who's
On this
married to
day,
one of us.
in 1999, an attraction opened at the Magic Kingdom.
1999. Tower? No, that's earlier. That's 94 or something.
Also not at the Magic Kingdom.
That's a great point. Is it the alien encounter?
So I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
The most controversial attraction in the history.
Oh, Winnie the Pooh?
Yes. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
I mean, actually, Alien Encounter was the most controversial, but I see what you did there.
That's really funny. Well, as I'm talking about that, I'm thinking Alien Encounter in my head and going, I was going to actually finish with, except Alien Encounter. All right, finally, on this day in 2011, a new TV show, sort of, on the Disney Channel.
A new... Is it a rebrand of like Mickey Mouse Club?
No, here, this might give you a hint.
Is this some sort of Mickey Mouse Club thing?
It would not give me a hint, by the way. I've never seen the show. But
Yeah.
So random.
yes, this is so random.
The show is now a show.
Disney Channel sketch show debuted on. So it is kind of because it has the same cast as Waverly Place.
No, so Sunny with a
Sunny with a
Chance was about her joining this show, and so it was like a show within a show. And then when Demi Lovato had her challenges, they made the show within a show a show. So they turned the sketch show that was in the show into a real sketch show,
Which is just brilliant. That is genius. So random. All right, that's all I got. I know we're close to the 10 a.m. drop. You want to talk for a couple minutes, Kyle?
Yeah.
Wait for that.
Yeah, I would love if other people would vote.
We've got, all right, people.
Stand.
No, we're not going to stand for this. If you are within the sound of my voice, Air Force One, Castle in the Sky, or Up, which one of those is your favorite balloon? We are not going to get out of here with just one vote. Come on, you're hurting me. You're hurting my feelings. Tony, you're out there. Nikki B, Luke, Gio, you're out there. Give me a vote. There we go. Voted. You can't say you voted. I mean, I appreciate that you may have voted in the actual Twitter. Oh, okay, thank you. Air Force One. Air Force, okay. You guys need to vote for the right thing, though. The Millennium Balloon? Was there a balloon for the Millennium Celebration? I'm gonna go find that one.
I did have.
Oh yes, there was. Oh my! I completely forgot about this one. How could they not? I guess you only have a few tweets you can. No, it's a thread. You can use as many as you want. This is Main Street Gazette and a picture of the Millennium Celebration balloon. Remember this one? Flying over the icon. There you go. That was a cool one. No one wants to remember putting the 2000 on Spaceship Earth.
Guess not. They do have a special offer, which you can book through, presumably through Mouseband Travel, where if you're on a Disney Cruise Line from Hawaiian Cruise with the Disney Wonder, you can get up to 20% off on staying at Aulani before or after your stay. This includes sailing like October 13th from Honolulu to Sydney, March 1st, 2024 from Honolulu to Vancouver, and same thing for the after dates.
Can you imagine spending like a week at Aulani and then boarding a ship sailing to Sydney?
It sounds awesome.
That sounds so awesome. Wow. Yeah. Right. So it looks like Air Force One is our easy winner. Not a choice. Tony is that guy. He is the epitome of that guy. So you guys can all see I'm honest here. The mouse is over Air Force One. It's highlighted. Button clicked. And it's losing to the Up Castle with 4,000 votes in. But our vote might make the difference. Your vote might.
Air Force One was the same year as me. 86.
86? That's your birth year?
Mm-hmm.
You were born the year I graduated high school? You know how much that
Yep.
hurts? Yeah, hurts a lot.
It's okay. We'll get through it.
How much trivia did you manage to stay through?
So I played the first few questions and then listened to at least a couple of the 90s questions. I wasn't paying full attention, but then after Benji got left behind by the bus and I had nothing else to do for a half hour, I decided to sit there and listen to some more.
I hope you turned off before I got to New Orleans because you'd heard
It was hard
all of that before.
I was trying to play, but having the picture-in-picture and the quiz up, it worked okay, but it was not the easiest way to play.
I think Gio did win one of those. Yeah, Gio won, and then I think the trio finished 3 in a row.
Yeah, I heard you screwed up your algorithm.
So I wanted to give even more points for getting it right because I was sick of people. I want the winner to at least get them all right, and then the rest is just kind of a tiebreaker. But so I made a change, but apparently I didn't get it quite right. So in a point worth 1,000 points, you can actually get more than 1,000 points. I will fix that hopefully before tomorrow, or not. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of fun. So, but Gio did
1 minute until the 10 o'clock drop. So I'm
Yes.
keeping an eye on the Twitter. We should have. Rebecca, can you make us another bumper where we like count down to the 10 o'clock drop or something like that? Not an actual countdown, but just, in anticipation of potential news.
Gio. Yeah, I know. Gio's missing Tuesdays now. So everyone, you got your chance to win on Tuesday. Although you only won one on Saturday, Gio. You did lose one. I think tomorrow we'll continue it. We'll do the aughts and the teens. Thank you very much, Troy, for the like. We definitely appreciate that. And yeah, Johnny, I would love to see a Muppet Verse too, as long as they're all as good as we just saw on Muppets Mayhem. That was a really, really good show. 10 o'clock is here, Kyle. I'm relying on you. Anything I need to share, send it to me.
Something about, well, we can talk about this in the meantime. This was not part of the 10 o'clock drop, but we were just talking about Cruise Line. I know you love the Cruise Line, so I think you'll agree with this honor that it's been bestowed with. It's on Forbes's list of customer experience all-stars. The Disney Cruise Line has once again made the list. I don't believe this is the first time, but I have not read the full article.
I don't believe it is the first time either, but it is
Award-winning
recognized.
service and dining. It's recognized for its award-winning, even though it's winning an award. So I don't know if this is part of the award-winning or...
Deservedly so. Disney Cruise Line has great dining, great service.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Palo is the best restaurant, but of the ones that aren't up charges, that are just a part of the regular rotation, it's a good question. I really liked Arundel's, actually. The entertainment in Arundel's was spectacular. Spectacular. And the food was good, too. So I think I got to go with Arundel's on the Disney Wish, which is the greatest of the Disney ships.
And Palo is better than, like, because Remy and Palo are different ships, but similar thing.
No, Palo is on every ship, and that's like the first level
Okay.
upscale, and then the one above that is Remy on some ships and Enchanté on the others. And we did do an Enchanté brunch on the Wish, which was amazing. Just one of the most amazing dining experiences I've ever had. But I don't know; those are really one-offs. I mean, that's not, to me. That's not. It's hard to compare because it's just so over the top. Palo is just a place you can go to. I could go to Palo every night, enjoy
Like a
it.
Steakhouse 55, where it's like elevated, but it's still like
Right.
friendly and enjoyable.
Yeah, and then there's a whole nother level when there's Enchanté, where it's like the 3-hour experience, and you get all dressed up, and I love it. I love it, but it's hard to compare it to regular dining experiences. Anything else you got?
Well, I was like, oh, there's something, and then I'm like, nope, it's the 10 o'clock drop is existing news from last week.
Okay, well,
They've let us down for the last time.
that is all we've got for you today. Then I do not know what our schedule is for the rest of the day, to be honest. So maybe there's Park Stock, maybe not.
As far as I know, there would be Park Stock. I haven't looked at the schedule today, but we'll also have Zax of Live. I forget what time that's at. Mac probably told me. Hopefully, it's not the time that Park Stock is supposed to happen.
Well, Park Stock is not currently on the schedule, but that could be because the schedule hasn't been updated.
Because
You never
the
know.
boss was flying all over the country this weekend.
To think we're actually this organized where we have a schedule, you guys, that must impress somebody. All right. Anyway, whoa. I'm not a big fan of the rotational dining on the Wish. So we have Marvel's, whatever the Marvel restaurant's called. I can't even think of it. I agree. That
World
is not a
of
great
Marvel.
place. Thank you. That is not spectacular. But Arundel's is awesome, and the other one, whose name I now can't remember, is also good. So my wife and I disagree on this one. I think we disagree on a lot about the Disney Wish, which is just fine because I am happy to go on any of these ships anytime. That's it, folks.